Botaji. And I just picked up this monthly magazine. Oh God, how do I say the name of the magazine? PAE? It's a hard one. But it's my favorite news magazine because it's got very much of a leftist bent. On this month's cover, there's a cartoon figure of Kamala Harris looking joyful and happy, and Donald Trump looking angry and small as his as his numbers tank, and her star is rising. And I think the editorial board of this magazine is just as happy about that as I am. I think the magazine is pronounced Piauí. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's what it might be. Today I want to talk about new realities, new circumstances that I have experienced and am experiencing here in my life in Salvador Bahia, Brazil. I've been here for 2.5 years now, and I'm still enjoying being here, living abroad. I still love Salvador. I don't anticipate that changing anytime soon. But some circumstances have changed. I would say financially. My monthly income has not changed. My sole source of income is Social Security, and it's stable at $1,500 a month. What has changed, though, are my expenses, specifically how much I have to put out every month for medications. If you've been following this channel, you know I went up to California in April, a few months ago, and while I was there, I was diagnosed with diabetes. And of course, that was a surprise and engendered some changes in my life. And the good news is that I very much have it under control, thanks to changes in diet and to medications that I'm taking now to control it. My blood sugar levels are normal now. They were off the charts when I was first diagnosed, and I had absolutely no idea. But they're down to normal now, thanks to that, what some call that miracle drug, Ozempic, and also another one called, I believe it's called Metformin. The Metformin is not expensive. It's only increased my prescription expense a little bit, but what is expensive is the Ozempic. Now, it's not nearly as expensive as it is up in the United States, where I was quoted $800 for a month's supply at Walgreens, and I said thanks but no thanks. Here I pay $210 a month for a 1 month supply, in reais, of course, but I'm translating it into dollars. And while $210 is a big savings over $800 a month, it's still, when you're on a limited budget of Social Security, it's quite a bite. And now, with all of the medications I take for my heart condition and for diabetes, I'm spending about a total of $350 a month for my medications. And that's quite a big bite out of $1,500 a month. I've had to make some adjustments. I still live perfectly comfortably. I haven't really had to cut back on anything. As I mentioned before, my rent is very reasonable, less than $400 a month. Other expenses are very reasonable. That's one of the things that I love about living abroad. cost of living here in Brazil and in many other places around the world are much, much less expensive. But still, that is $350 a month is a big bite out of my total budget. What it basically has meant is that I'm able to put far, far less away in savings every month, which in turn limits my ability to travel. Travel is very important to me. Now, it's not quite as pressing, of course, that I live in Brazil, because just by living here, I'm already traveling. I'm already living abroad and doing what I love most, which is to live abroad and to live in an environment where I speak a second or third language, in this case Portuguese. But it also means that I've had to postpone and curtail travel. I've been wanting to make a trip up to the Amazon for the longest time now, and still haven't been able to do it, although I plan to. It's going to happen, just not as fast or as soon as I wanted it to. It makes me think, as a result, has my life started to become somewhat routine, which is one of the things that one of the main reasons why I left California, left the United States, because I don't like falling into a routine, or even worse, a rut. I'm definitely not in a rut. That would be very difficult to impossible living in this exciting, interesting, fascinating place, Salvador. But routine, yes. I can feel that my life, I've fallen into routine. I do go for my daily walks, which I'm going on right now. Sometimes 2, 3, even 4 hours. I always enjoy that. But I'm not traveling far and wide like I would normally want to, because of budgetary limitations. Now, I still am able to put money away into savings every month, but it's far less than it was. Before, I was able to put away about the equivalent of $300 a month. $300 doesn't sound like much, but $300 is 1,500 reais, or sometimes, sorry, the siren. Sometimes I was able to put away $400, 2,000 reais a month. And that kind of money goes very far in Brazil, and I could go far and wide. But now, recently, I've only been able to put away about $40 a month. Now, that I think will change. I can save a bit more. I'm still adjusting to this new financial reality. But I think I can make adjustments where I think I can save $100 a month. But still, that's a lot less than the $300 or $400 a month I was saving. I think I plan to stay in my apartment when my lease is up in December. Told the landlady that I want to stay another year. I'm comfortable in my little apartment. The rent may be a little higher than I would like to pay, but it's a very convenient location. I'm paying a bit of a premium because of the good location I'm in, but it's worth it. So I think I'll stay there. There is the possibility that I may need to go back to the United States, to California, in, let's say, November or early December for another 16 days to finish up the business that I was not able to finish, to complete when I was there in April. Issues around my banking, my Social Security account, things like that. And I want to get them done once and for all. Because I've said before, I'm not going to go back to the United States to live ever again if I can help it. And I would much rather spend the money on a plane ticket to the United States on a trip around Brazil or to Europe or to other places in Latin America. I don't need or want to go back to the United States frequently or even once a year. But I do need to take care of this business once and for all. And change bank accounts. That's another thing I need to do. Things like that, if I don't do it, they're going to catch up to me. And they're things that are either extremely difficult or impossible to take care of from here. I just need to go there and take care of it. Hopefully, I won't have to. I'm still trying to resolve them here, but if not, I may have to go. That'll be another, at least $1,000 round trip ticket. I'm just finishing paying off for the last ticket, and I would really not like to have the expense of, I've been paying $200 a month every month to pay off the last ticket, which cost me slightly over $1,000 round trip, which actually was a good fare. I got a good last minute fare. The fare typically is much higher than that, more like $1,500. If I do need to go, I hope I can find that $1,000 or even a less reasonable fare, but we'll see about that. We're now walking in the Corredor de Vitoria, which is one of Salvador's wealthiest and ritziest neighborhoods. We climbed the hill from Baja, the beach area, and now we're in the Corredor de Vitoria. We're walking towards Centro, where I'm going to go look at plants. One of my vices. Last thing I need is another plant, but what the heck. I don't have any plant stores or places to buy plants in my neighborhood, so I walk up here, but it's a good excuse for getting out and going for a long walk. Anyway, so the question is, am I in a routine now? Not a rut, but a routine, and I don't really want to fall into a routine. So I think it's time to switch things up a little bit. Nothing radical. I'm not moving, and I certainly am not traveling anywhere, at least for a few months. But I need to start expanding my circles, perhaps. I'm planning on joining a expat group. I know some people don't like the word expat. I've learned not to use it myself, but that's what the group calls itself. Expats are foreigners living in Salvador who get together once a month to meet each other, talk about life in Salvador. It's a social connection, a way to make new friends. And so I think this month I'm going to start participating in that group. There is an online app. Its name is escaping by me right now, but Meetup. That's right, it's called Meetup. If you're traveling, living abroad, go on Meetup, or even in your own city, and you can find groups for any kind of activity or interest you have. That could be foreign language. Conversation is one I participated in before when I lived in California. A good way to maintain and improve your foreign language, or when living abroad, a meetup of fellow expats or locals, and or locals who want to practice their English. Another way to meet locals. So I highly recommend using Meetup for that purpose. So that's one thing I plan to do, is to expand my social circle and find ways to get out of my routine. Because yes, even living abroad in a fascinating place like Salvador, you can get stuck in a routine, and that's why we leave our home countries. So after you've been living in a place for a year or two or more, you might need to up your opportunities and expand your horizons in the place that you're living in, if you're living in one stable location and not traveling around. On another subject, I was watching the YouTube channel of another American who was living abroad. In his case, he was living in Vietnam, and he was talking about things that he loves about living in Vietnam and things that he does not like about living in Vietnam. I think he lives in Ho Chi Minh City, and that got me to thinking: are there any things that I don't like living about here in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil? And I'm happy to say that there's really not anything that I don't like. Now, 15 years ago, when I was living in what I call phase one of my living in Salvador experience, yes, I would have had complaints, I would have had negative points, but I realize now all of them were of my own doing. It was because I was allowing myself to participate in or hang out with people that were not healthy or good for me. And so now that I'm older and wiser, I have eliminated those points, those places, those people, those experiences that I didn't like and that colored my views of Salvador in a negative way. They don't exist for me anymore, thankfully. I realize I'm the one who chooses what I don't want to expose myself to. And so now, in my current manifestation here in Salvador, I really can't think of anything negative about life here. I mean, I suppose I could complain a little bit about the heat in the summer, but that's not something to really complain about. That's part and parcel of living in the tropics. And it's also one of the good things. Year-round, fantastic weather. But other than that, and also things work so much better now than they used to 25 years ago when I first moved to Brazil. So many things are automated now, have been streamlined. I'm thinking banking, bureaucracy, visas, setting up things like cell phone numbers and getting your lights and gas turned on and things like that. All of those are, and banking too. All of those things now are pretty comparable to the efficiency and speed in a place like the United States. So I really don't have any complaints about that. So no, I can't list any negative sides of living here in Bahia, Brazil, and that is nice. So I'm going to sign off for today now. Thanks for joining me on this walk, and I'll see you in the next episode. Beijo and boa tarde.